And we are live. It is Sunday, April the 28th, 2019. April's almost over. I'm Ben of Canucks with Guitars, and I have my good friend RJ Ronquillo.
Hey, guys.
All the way from Nashville, Tennessee.
Good to see everybody. Thank you for having me, Ben.
Yes, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. It's about time we got somebody out of the great city of Nashville on here.
Am I the first?
You are, sir.
All right. Welcome to Nashville. We just had the NFL draft this past week, and it was horrendous downtown.
Yeah, poor Rhett.
Yeah.
Yes, awesome. I'm just going to do a quick roll call in the chat here. I see a bunch of people already. So if you want to get a shout out, folks, say hello in the chats. At the first, we have Music Therapy Laz. Welcome. Todd Flowers, my good buddy out of Florida. Dave R's Guitars is just in briefly because he's flying to North Carolina, I believe. He's out in Oregon. Some guy named Ben Coombs. I don't know who he is. Evie's Vlogs. RJ, the Mad One. Awesome. Mad Raj. Terry's GG&G, moderator to the stars, and me. We have Aaron from Albus Band. Awesome hangout last week, buddy. Joe Hervey 84. We got Marsman. Let's see. We got Chuck Booth. Quentin James is awake, apparently. Landon the Boy. Dan in New Jersey. Big Ben 12. Welcome. New name. Anthony, who I can never say your last name. Paul Glover. Lawrence Petross Design. Builder of Pedals to the Stars. Jasco Plumbing Supply. Daniel Horsley. Pete Hickson. Ron Limber. My lovely sister Amanda. See, RJ, you're not the only one who has their sister in the chat.
Hey,
you and I have in common.
You got to keep it in the family.
And Lefty Mike. There we go. Welcome one, welcome all. Please leave a thumbs up. And if you're new, please subscribe. And Bobby Lopez out of Toronto.
Wow, you know everybody.
I try.
What is up, guys? Hey, Lawrence Petross. I see some familiar faces, familiar names here from, I guess we share the same community. That's great.
Yes. All these people have good taste in YouTube guitar players.
Exactly.
Yes, that's it. Michael B says, quick hello, all and all. Thumbs up. We'll catch the replay. Cool. Awesome, Michael B. Likely having some family time on a Sunday evening. Awesome, awesome. Will Varella's not here, but Tone Bolts and Robert Metzenberg are. Right, Robert's out of Port Perry. That's about an hour away from me. Lawrence is building pedals and watching us. Awesome.
He's constantly working.
He is. He's a busy man.
Yep.
Very busy. And I'm very proud to be part of the beta team with him.
Yes. I'm telling you, I'm constantly playing through, I mean, you've seen my live streams. It's either the 84 either the 87 pedal or the 84 or something else. And it's just stuck on there. Can't get it off.
Yeah. I was lucky enough. He sent me the Saguaro boost pedal.
Yes.
And so, I open it up, I plug it in, and it was like you hit a chord. Okay, turn it on. Oh, now I get high-end pedals.
Yeah. It's hard to find a good boost pedal that kind of does that too. Because, a boost pedal, it can be a pretty simple circuit, but when you find one that just like instantly resonates, it's usually one knob anyways too. So when there's whatever the magic he puts in, with the circuitry and all the little diodes and whatever all that stuff is, it's working. I see a question here from Albus Band. What's the expected turnaround on my Novo? I'm going to release the second episode Monday, tomorrow.
Nice.
And we're guessing 6 to 8 more weeks.
Right. In time for Summer NAMM.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yes. Actually, we were talking about part 1 of that video last week on our Hangout.
Oh.
Because when you were at Novo, you were told, don't show the new guitar. And then you go into like selfie mode, and there it is behind you.
No, that wasn't it, though. That was another one. No.
Okay.
There was another guitar. There was another guitar that was behind me that wasn't painted. It was just the body. So that was another guitar. I think that might have been an old Fano branded guitar.
Ah, nice. Brian Cote, sup folks, just got back from the Vintage Guitar Show in Elmira, Ontario. Didn't buy anything, but it was a fun afternoon anyways. Cool.
That's probably the safest thing is to not buy anything. Because
Hey,
it's
we got
very
guitar
dangerous.
hack.
Those guitar shows can be very dangerous.
Yes. Yeah, tell me about it. I think it was weird. We went to a guitar show Labor Day weekend last year in a town just down the road. And it's like a town of 1,500 people, very small town. Guitar show is held in a curling rink that is maybe one sheet curling rink.
Wow.
So super small.
That's very Canadian.
It is. Like what else do you do on Labor Day weekend, right? Hold a guitar show in a curling rink. And there's a 57 Strat in there.
Wow.
At the show. And you just don't expect to see that at some, small town show, but I had to touch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said to the guy, I'm like, sorry, dude, I got to touch it. And I'm making eye contact with him. And he's just smirking because I just literally just with the tip of the finger touch, I'm like, yes, I touched a 57 Strat.
Yeah. It's kind of amazing to know that there's still like vintage guitars under people's beds and in people's closets that are just like probably in the nicest condition. That they don't even know anything about it, and someone's gonna find it. Hopefully, it won't be Joe Bonamassa. Hopefully, it'll be somebody else.
Yeah, save some for the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember, was it the last time he was touring Canada last year? He stopped at one of the shops and, of course, posts on Instagram, hey, I picked up this, this, and this. And my comment was, you've already stripped America clean. Leave Canada for us, please.
Yeah, exactly. Gosh, he's got 2 houses worth of vintage gear. And he's got people that seek out gear everywhere and kind of hunt for these special items that they'll be like, if they find something, like I have a friend that kind of hunts for gear for him, and if they find something, they'll let him know, and they'll either buy it for him or they'll tell him where to go and stuff. So
sure,
he is a true vintage collector.
Nice. Must be nice.
Yeah, right.
I just want to be a true import collector even at this point. 50 guitars, and I don't care if they're all imports. If they play decent and sound decent, I'm happy.
Oh yeah, that's an important thing to me. It's like I used to have a bunch of guitars that didn't play that well that I probably bought on eBay sight unseen, and I ended up getting rid of all the guitars that I didn't play. I didn't like. I did a whole Marie Kondo of my guitar collection where if it didn't bring me joy, then get it out of here.
Right. Aaron from Elvis Band says, so I shouldn't mention the 63 SG I sold him.
What? To Bonamassa?
Probably. He works at a Guitar Center in the Chicago area.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Joe should start collecting Eastwood guitars. Good one, Terry. Yes, he'll be knocking on RJ's door.
I got them all.
I don't have the green one, RJ. I need it. Well,
I got them all.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, there's a lot of Eastwood guitars. The thing about Eastwood is like they have a cool business model where they only make a small run of each model that they put out. So, once it's gone, it's usually gone. But then there's like tons of old models that they don't put out anymore that are kind of collector's items.
Sure.
Like, why is that? Like my my RJ signature tuxedo, which they don't make anymore. But a little bird told me over at the company that John Fogerty actually got one.
Nice.
That's what I was told. I don't know if he plays it or if he still has it, but I guess he ordered one and they sent Fogerty a model.
Hey, there's Milt in the chat. My buddy I was telling you about off air that I was hanging out with yesterday, he's in the chat. He made it safely back to Windsor. And
hey, that's close to Detroit, Milt.
Awesome. Oh, we have a photo sent in from Elvis Band. Oh, dang. Okay. So I guess this was the guitar that was sold.
Ah.
See if it'll focus in.
Is that the downtown Chicago Guitar Center, or is that out in the suburbs?
Good question.
Because the downtown Chicago Guitar Center was the very first guitar center I went to in 8th grade, which would have been what, 1989?
Very cool.
Someone's asking, Ben Coombs, where's RJ from? I'm from Michigan originally, Detroit, Michigan, and I live in Nashville, Tennessee right now.
But I've learned you've also spent time in Miami, LA, and I believe New York for a while.
Chicago.
Yeah. Right.
And Albus just said it's in the burbs in Joliet.
Ah, yes.
Not too far.
Nice. Yes, I've learned it's interesting. You drop Easter eggs, maybe not without even knowing it, in some of your tour vlog videos. Because you'll be in LA and you're like, oh yeah, I haven't seen that place since I lived out here, and it's just like a little thing, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, RJ lived in LA for a while. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I think I've done a couple like interviews or expose type things where I've briefly touched on living in LA and Detroit and Chicago briefly and Miami. So it's out. I think the it's out there. My background. I don't have a Wikipedia page though, which is
not yet.
Not well. I'm not going to make it. Someone else can make it.
That'll be your super fan.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I know I saw a video you put out not too long ago on your first guitar, which was cool.
Yes.
So what was it that got you interested in going from, say, a fan of music to I want to do this?
Well, let's start at the beginning, I guess. Being a fan of music, I think Michael Jackson was the biggest star to me at the time when I started getting into popular music. I was probably 8 when Thriller came out, so that was the biggest thing at that time.
That was the first
I was really into music, into popular music, but like being a musician didn't really get into my brain maybe till I always say that Back to the Future was like the first thing that I saw about guitar that I wanted to play guitar.
And you're not the first person that said that to me.
Yeah, it's just, but I think even before that, I probably watched music videos on MTV. I'm trying to think of my earliest memory of seeing a guitar. I mean, my dad played guitar and he had guitars around, but he never really played them. And the music that he played on them was just kind of basic campfire chord type stuff.
Sure.
So I never knew anything about, Jimi Hendrix or Eric Clapton until way later. So my first, because of Back to the Future, I guess my first guitar hero was Chuck Berry. So I was really into 50s music to start out with. So, going from the 80s pop music that was on the radio and Michael Jackson, and then going right to 50s rock and roll.
Sure, just start right at the beginning.
Yeah, and then from there, it kind of just progressively went decade by decade. I got into 50s music, I got into 60s music, I got into like 70s Led Zeppelin, and then back into 80s and shred metal and all that stuff.
2 comments here. Will Varela says, I dig RJ's channel. He explains guitar very well.
Thank you.
And Lawrence Petross is making RJ's Wikipedia page as we speak.
Okay.
Brian got his Canucks with Guitar shirt. Awesome.
All right. I need one of those.
Yeah, you do.
Can I be an honorary Canuck?
Of course. You're a super nice guy. You have great taste in guitars and music.
Yeah.
How could I say no?
I've been to Canada many times.
That's right. I can kind of relate. My dad played as well. He was a gigging musician locally, but he was mostly into country by the time I was old enough to be aware of what's going on, and which I was not into at all. Although I'm into that exact music he played now, because you miss it.
Yeah.
Years later. And so, I was like, okay, Dad plays guitar, but the musical journey, I think for me, it was 2 guys, was Eddie Van Halen, because he was always smiling. And he played, and Ace Frehley, because Ace was just the space ace.
Oh, yeah.
And And I'm like, that is cool. I want to do that. And I kind of did the opposite direction where you started with Chuck Berry, where for me it was, you're listening to Motley Crue and they're like, hey, you might like us, but we got nothing on the Georgia Satellites.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And then so I start listening to Georgia Satellites and they're like, yeah, but we have nothing on Led Zeppelin. I'm like, well, who's Led Zeppelin? So then I start listening to Led Zeppelin and then everyone's like, well, no, you got to listen to Mississippi Delta Blues.
Yeah, so you work backwards.
I'd be in high school, listening to my Walkman. My friends are listening to Motley Crue, Poison, and I'm listening to the Robert Johnson box set that just hit the market.
Uh-huh.
Because I was just like, oh yeah, I'm wearing a trench coat, a fedora. I'm going to be a blues man.
Yeah, I think Robert Johnson didn't really hit me until high school. It's so funny to talk about like how movies play such a big part in me discovering the music early on. So Crossroads was the movie that introduced me to Robert Johnson.
Sure.
So like the funny story is Michael J. Fox and Ralph Macchio were my first guitar heroes.
Right.
And Lou Diamond Phillips in La Bamba.
Oh, of course. Yes. Will says, you're also the best YouTuber out there who teaches and plays the Hendrix stuff.
Thank you.
And Marsman asks if any Del Guapo's plans in the works, RJ.
There are no Del Guapo's plans right now, just because I'm concentrating on the YouTube channel and everything. I think the next thing I want to put out musically would be like a solo record of blues stuff. So it might have some kind of Del Guapo's tinge to it, maybe a little bit of surf style bluesy stuff, reverby vibrato stuff, but it won't be a dedicated Del Guapo's album. But thank you for asking.
Everyone's saying you're awesome. Hey, Brian Stewart. He always has the best greeting. Hey, guitar dudes and dudettes. My sister's first boy poster was Michael J. Fox playing guitar.
I believe it. I might get a tattoo of some kind of scene from Back to the Future just as a dedication.
Another great, I don't know if you've seen another great movie he did where he played guitar was Light of Day.
Yeah, with Joan Jett, right?
That would, like, if that wasn't the epitome of 80s gigging bar bands, like that movie was so well done.
Yeah. That one and the Eddie and the Cruisers. Do you remember that movie?
Eddie and the Cruisers. Yeah. Forget about part two. Part two.
Don't even watch that one.
Yeah. Clearly shot in Canada.
It's funny how many movies in the 80s came out about music or showed bands and musicians on stage. Now, I mean, I haven't really been to the movies in a long time, so I don't know what's out there.
Decade run, like, right from like the Blues Brothers right up through the Commitments. Was it the Commitments?
Yeah.
British rhythm and blues band? Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
My sister watched Eddie and the Cruisers 2 weeks ago.
Hey, I should watch that. I haven't seen that in a while.
Hey, we got Charles Green, David Ennis, and Blues Manus guitar art. Man, there's a name I haven't seen in ages. How you doing, buddy? Oh, Soda Pop liked part 2. Sorry. The guy played a Lado guitar, Canadian builder in the 80s, building Super Strats.
Spinal Tap was another good one.
Spinal Tap was great because, some of the most zany things that happened in that movie, were real things.
Yeah, and even if you weren't a professional musician, you knew that was like, you knew about the joke because that's like, that's what it happened, you know?
And I remember, I think it seems to be, I was watching it with my dad and he was just in tears laughing, and he never did that, other than like the Blues Brothers with a lot of inside humor there too. And then he's like, this is so on point. Like, right, like Paul Schaefer wearing the satin jacket that, every tour manager and roadie had back in the day.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Let's see here. We got a bunch of people chiming in. Awesome. Lawrence Petross says Spinal Tap was hilarious, but too close to home.
I think a lot of bands around that time were kind of offended.
Showman Blues. Man, we got all kinds of people. How many people do we have watching, Terry? I am curious because the chat is flying. That's awesome. Welcome one, welcome all. That's right. My sister says, hey to all that have jumped in, too many to tag. 54 watching. Nice.
All right.
Oh, Showman says 33. So we'll add them together and we have 87 watching.
That's a lot. 55.
Right on. Right on. So you guys have any questions, ask away. That's awesome. Did anyone see Trick or Treat cheesy horror rock movie? I believe so. That does ring a bell because pretty much anything loosely based on a band I'll watch.
I think I have that on VHS. No, I have Shock 'em Dead, which was a horror movie that I think Michelangelo Badio is in or something.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, okay. Krellbar says Skippy and Gene Simmons. That was Trick or Treat. I don't have that on VHS, but I remember that movie. I think Ozzy was in it too. Ozzy Osbourne was in that.
Right.
Or wait a second. I'm getting all my movies, my 80s metal movies, horror movies confused.
Pre-war strumming. There's a new name in the chat. Welcome. He says, it was that opening 10, 15 seconds of Crossroads that got me hooked on RJ Johnson. That sent me down the Neverending Road. It struck unlike anything I've heard since. Nice. Kiss Meets the Phantom.
Oh, gosh. I have 2 copies of that on VHS. Someone had asked me about my go-to live amp rig. Quentin James. Hey, Quentin.
Yes.
The amp that I was touring with for the longest time is the Morgan RCA 35. If you watch my videos, it's the white combo, or the white head and 112 cab that I have in the background.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, and a lot of the last few tours you were doing, a lot of it was supplied backlines, wasn't it?
Yeah, a lot of the Europe stuff was just rented stuff, and it was mostly like a Fender Twin or some sort of like DeVille. Those are the easiest to get everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I use a Blues Deluxe as my main live amp.
Yeah.
For that reason, it takes pedals well.
Yeah, it's a good workhorse amp.
We play 4 sets of covers a night. I'll use about 4 or 5 different overdrives to get different sounds for different decades, and things never let me down.
That's great.
Everyone's saying hey to people. Nice. Nice. Guitar Hack says, I have Kiss Meets the Phantom. It was Oscar nominated, I believe.
Yes, let's just say it was Oscar nominated.
Sure. Sounds like my sister hasn't picked up her guitar in a couple of days. She got a guitar, about 3 weeks ago, Amanda? Almost a month ago now.
Oh, wow.
I found a Squire Affinity Jazzmaster that I picked up and did a setup on it, and then gave it to her for her first guitar so she learned how to play.
Oh, that's great. Are you teaching her?
Whenever she wants. She's actually doing a lot on her own, but yeah, she knows I'm only a phone call away or a text, or I'll go over and we'll do an in-person thing. And
nice. Yeah, I taught.
Okay. Soda Pop says, ask RJ how many guitars are behind him. Go.
Oh, you want me to count? Let's see here. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I would say 30.
Nice.
Around 30.
Well, I believe somebody said in chat the other day that you should have a guitar for every year you've seriously played.
Seriously played. Yeah, that's about right then. I probably need like 5 more then.
Nice. Nice. Hey, Justin Cox, Janice, Phil Mosely. Nice. Lots of people jumping in. What strings do you use?
I use the D'Addario NYXLs normally. I mean, I kind of those are my go-to strings, but depending on the guitar, I'll put on a different brand or a different, gauge. 10 to 46 or 9 to 42 or 9 to 46 is usually my go-to gauge with most guitars. But for like my jazz guitar, I have what are they? I forget the brand. Really pricey flat wound jazz strings.
And you
Tomastic.
don't find the NYXLs are gouging or prematurely wearing your frets?
I haven't noticed that. Is that a typical comment that people
basic metallurgy, like a harder metal will hurt a softer metal.
Yeah.
And you're putting steel strings over nickel frets.
Oh, okay.
So for instance, like I'll only use NYXLs on my stainless steel fret guitar.
Got you.
For that reason.
You know what? I haven't noticed that, but that's a good point.
Yeah, I did notice. Because my Reno Fin, my signature guitar, which actually I wanted to show you since the guitar you were playing yesterday has a very similar finish.
Yeah.
I did stainless steel frets on that, and when I took the strings off for the first time, the bottom of the strings were dented. So I had this built last summer.
And, wow. Yeah, that's exactly like that other finish.
Mahogany, Honduran mahogany body, maple neck, unfinished. And I've got my signature P90s in it.
Nice.
7.5K output in the neck, 9.5K out of the bridge, and the Tele 4-way switch wiring system.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Is that a clear pickguard?
That is a black pickguard, actually.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Oh, I see. It's cut there.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
In it, and I did a slight arm relief, which I really enjoy on a Tele.
Yeah. Makes it more comfortable.
And it's been one of my workhorses since I've had it. I'm very proud of Reno Fin Custom Guitars. Check them out, folks. Victoria, British Columbia.
Why don't they put stainless steel frets on every guitar now?
I don't know, other than cost. I would assume. Yeah, it's sort of like wax potted pickups. Once we discovered the technology, why would you not do it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a lot of traditionalists in the guitar community, so if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Yeah. But then again, I've modded all my vintage guitars too, or they have been modded, so.
Yeah. That's part of being a guitar player. It's like being a car enthusiast or a motorcycle enthusiast. Like the first thing you do when you buy something is change it.
Yeah.
Or mod it or whatever. Slap on different parts.
There's a question. Thank you, Soda Pop. Matt Harrison wants to know what favorite brand of guitar rack does RJ use?
Oh, like my stands behind me? These are all like the cheapest ones I could find. Honestly, if I could afford the really nice coffin case ones, that Tour Supply, I forget what the brand is, but Tour Supply, I think it's like $600 for a stand of 5 or something ridiculous. But those are the most sturdy, roadworthy stands that I would keep in my house, but those are kind of way too pricey. So I have like a Hercules stand there. I've got like a Warwick stand there. Some cheap stuff that I bought on Amazon.
Sure.
It's really just to hold the guitars in place. It's not, I wouldn't take them on the road or anything.
Right. Yeah, that's what I found with the Fender stands. They're okay, but they're not great. And I exclusively use the Fender stands because, well, my buddy's a Fender dealer and I get a deal.
There you go. You could do like a between 6 Fenders show if I see your amps back there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got a lot of Fender gear. There's a Fender half stack, the Blues Deluxe, obviously my Teles.
Mm-hmm.
I use Fender cables.
What are the 2 amp heads behind your right?
Those are some low-end, early 70s 30-watt tube heads made by Pepco.
Whoa.
Which needs servicing. I pulled them out because I've got an amp guy that I want to drop them off to, see if he might be able to combine the 2 into one. But ideally, I'd like to have them both because then I could have matching heads.
When did you get those, and were they working when you bought them?
I think I know one did because I bought one in the mid 90s, and the other one I think's been sitting around here since I was a little kid that my dad picked up in a deal somewhere along the line.
Gotcha.
For a while in the mid 90s, I was running one of them into a 2x15 cab.
2x15. Wow.
It was heavy.
Yeah.
It was a heavy tone.
That is a wide range.
Yeah, yeah. And then, yeah, there's a mid-70s PV Classic, their Classic 50.
Mm-hmm.
Mid-80s Marshall MOSFET head. MOSFET. Or MOSFET. I always screw up that name. A gutted AC-15, which is now just a 112 cab. And up top, an old Vox Pathfinder that's been converted to just a head to go with the Vox cab.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, and a B52 AT112. Great amps.
I remember those amps.
I love that thing. That's 60 watts of awesomeness.
Nice.
It's got a mid contour, which is similar to a bit of a resonance into a lower mid range that you can scoop right out or add in. I love it.
Nice.
That's right, Guitar Hack. MOSFET is a different type of transistor. I always call it MOFSET, though, for whatever reason. And I did a demo vid on that. I think half the time I call it one or the other, and I'm still getting comments. You know, it's MOSFET. I'm like, I know. You know, like you could have read the other 20 comments.
Offset guitars.
Notification, 30 minutes live, 60 watching, 36 thumbs ups. Awesome.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you. Field effect transistor, Crowbar says. Yes. Blues Mana says B52s are great amps. Yeah. Awesome. What did I miss anything here? Let's see. Now I'm like you scrolling back in the chat.
Yeah, that's dangerous too, because then you get lost.
How tall am I? Albus Band asks. I am 6 feet tall. The Moffats Band, yeah. And I do actually have a couple of pedals, including a MOSFET distortion pedal built in Japan in the 70s that I'm sending down to Lawrence Petross to take a look at.
Cool.
Yeah, they need some work, and I thought, hey, you know, Lawrence is a great guy. There's a distortion and a mini flanger, and I want him to take a look at it because I figure worst case he could look at it. It could be something like, wow, they don't use any of this type of circuitry anymore, and he might dig it.
That's awesome. It's good to know pedal builders because you can kind of like pick their brain about stuff, or like you, I have some pedals that need to get repaired that I have no idea how to fix. And so Zach from Mythos, since he lives right down the road from me,
right,
he's kind of my local go-to guy to throw stuff at.
I was in touch with him last year. We have a mutual friend, and he was looking at breaking into the Canadian marketplace for this pedal. So I was giving him some advice and stuff like that, you know, because we kind of have we have Guitar Center in Canada. It's called Long McQuaid, and they've so saturated the market that it's something like 90% of all music stores in Canada are Long McQuaid locations.
Wow, I never knew that.
Really forced everybody out. So,
is there still Steve's Music in Canada?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how many locations there are. I know there's still the Toronto location, which is the original.
Yeah, that was the one that I went to.
Thank you. David Ennis says, nice shirt. Yes, let's give a promo because they're playing in a couple of weeks. Nerd Halen out of Los Angeles, California. My good friend Caleb Rapoport is the guitar player. And yeah, they do Van Halen covers, but they're all dressed as nerds.
That's amazing. There's a huge kind of community like that in LA too. There's what's that band? The McDonald's Mac Sabbath.
Right.
I used to play in a band called Metalachi, which was the first heavy metal mariachi band. Or they claim it's the first and the world's only heavy metal mariachi band. And I did that gig for like about a year, and we would just do covers of metal songs, like 80s metal songs, but mariachi style. So if you Google Metalachi, you'll see that they're all kind of dressed up in they all have their own characters. It's funny.
Oh, nice.
And my character character's name was Juan Jovi.
Nice. Okay, yeah. No, Terry's just saying Steve's is only in Toronto and Quebec. Yeah, because they used to be in Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, Vancouver, and I think even Calgary for a while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they did a pretty big expansion in the 90s.
Nice.
I just remember the first time I walked into Steve's Music, I think I was about 15 years old in during a trip to Toronto, and it was the first time I'd ever seen a half stack in person, let alone one plugged in the store. And there was a rack of Strats hanging above it. And I was like, well, let's see how far, can I grab a guitar before, someone says, hey, kid, put that down. And I pick up a guitar, grab a patch cord, plug into a half stack, and start playing. And the guy comes up to me, and I'm like, okay, here. And he's like, so what do you think? And I was just like, wow, he's like treating me like a regular person. And this is awesome.
I remembered I have pictures from my trip to Toronto and going to Steve's Music. It was right when Ibanez released the Steve Vai Gem, like the very first run of gems, and they had 3 of them. I had never seen an Ibanez guitar in Detroit.
Right.
Where I grew up, there was no Guitar Center at the time. We had like a handful of music stores, and none of them were carrying the new Ibanez stuff. So I had never seen an Ibanez in person, only in guitar magazines. So when I went in there, they had all like the fluorescent colored Ibanez guitars, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I took a picture of it was a yellow Ibanez Gem, the yellow with the hot pink pickups, and I still have that picture somewhere floating around. But
nice. Hey, Matt Harrison, good to see you. Everyone's saying hey to each other. Does RJ have any artist sides guitars?
I don't. I've checked them out. Are those the ones that are kind of made out of a different material other than wood? If I know correctly, like maybe graphite or something.
Lawrence Petross has to leave on an errand. He'll be back in 15. He's going to the post office to drop off bundles of pedals. Because guys like Joe Perry are standing there tapping their foot like Sonic the Hedgehog. They're like, RJ has one. Why don't I have one?
I got, Joe Perry got that Dan Electro that I just demoed. That was it a 64S? It's the one that's like a Mosrite body with the Strat.
Right. And clearly he bought it based off your demo, right?
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, you saw the comment, I'm sure, on the video. Cool demo, dude. Think I'll pick one up.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe. Someone was asking here, RJ the Mad One, the other RJ. Hey, man. If I've ever worked in fire life safety industry? No, I haven't.
Fair enough. Soda Pop saying, is he going to my mailbox? Because I did a 10-minute video of me walking to the mailbox the other day.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I did stop a couple of times to show the nature and stuff because I live outside of town. So there's like a creek that runs by our place with a waterfall, and there's a pond, and there was some swans in it. And
yeah.
So it was quite nice. What was your first guitar and amp?
My first guitar was technically my first guitar was a hand-me-down from my father. It was a Kingston, which was a Japanese brand. It was a Kingston semi-hollow body. It almost looked like a bad version of a 335, but it had weird kind of P90 pickups and like a horrible vibrato system. And my first amp was his, which was a Univox brand. So it was like, the cheap Japanese brands, which some of them are sought after now. But after that, my first real guitar was a Fender Strat, Japanese Fender Strat, and a PV Classic. No, I'm sorry, a PV Backstage 50 solid state amp. And I actually made a video that's on my channel about playing my old gear. So check it out.
It was very cool. I guess, my first beater when I was too young to know what I was doing was a Framus. What? Framus? Wow. Yes, Framus used to make very low-end guitars.
Yeah.
So the bolt-on neck, parlor-size acoustic that my dad bought just to take to parties when he was young, So that way, if you had some drunk person, hey, can I try your guitar? Sure. Here, take it. The action is, a mile off the fretboard.
Wow.
So
That's a lap steel guitar.
I used to play slide on it quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it sits in the rack with all the others.
Hey, I'm glad you kept it.
Yeah.
Albus is asking me, he knows the colors on the Novo, but what pickup configuration did I do? I chose Lawler mini humbuckers.
Right.
And the benefit with that type of routing, they told me, is like, there's different pickups that you could fit in that particular route. I guess it's a P90 route, so I could put the Lawler mini hums, the Firebirds, gold foils, stuff like that. So
I didn't realize it was actually my friend JJ that told me when I was visiting him during NAMM that mini humbuckers and P90s are the same size, because my first electric that I bought was a 72 Les Paul Deluxe with mini humbuckers, and I sold it because I didn't like the sound of the mini humbuckers. Had I known, I could have put P90s in it.
Yeah, because I guess mini hums with the pickup ring would equal a P90 route.
Joe Hervey asks if you use or like active pickups.
Do I have any? I mean, in my first guitar, I had active pickups. I had active Seymour Duncan live wires, which I didn't really know much about gear when I was little, so I just wanted a pickup that didn't have a buzz.
Right.
So I had those in, and in the past, I've had like EMGs. I don't have any now. I don't think. I think there's a place for them tonally. I think if you play really high gain stuff, they can be great. But yeah, I mean, I don't play a lot of high gain stuff, so I don't have a need for them.
All right. Yeah, I get that. My 67 Telly has EMGs in it, actually.
Oh, cool.
Because my dad got sick of playing in bars with it being loud with bad wiring.
Mm-hmm.
He just wanted a quiet sound because he played a clean guitar at stage volume.
Oh, okay.
Or, like there's no hiding, right? A Telly into a twin.
Right. Exactly.
Let's see here. Robert Metzenberg says, any good tips for learning to play slide guitar? Yes. Step 1, go on my channel. There is the basics of slide video to check out. And then once you watch that, disregard it all and then check out some RJ slide videos because he's a much better slide player than me.
Oh, God. Thank you, man. Good tips for learning to play slide guitar. I mean, I would start with having your guitar properly set up, because that makes a big difference. If you try to play slide on a guitar that's just set up for your comfort for fretting, it's not going to sound great. It's not going to feel great. And then you're going to get turned off. So if you can have some sort of second guitar, whether it's an acoustic or an electric guitar, set up specifically for slide and kept in an open tuning, then it'll help you enjoy slide playing way more than if you were just if you just buy some Dunlop steel slide from Guitar Center and just start sliding on your Fender Strat that's kind of with a low action. It's going to sound horrible.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're playing at like stage volume where you can't hear it clicking along the frets. And
yeah, that's true.
Let's see here. Soda Pop was asking if you're out of Vegas or Nashville. He's out of Nashville.
Almost moved to Vegas.
Markman wants to know compression before dirt.
For me, I put my compressor before my overdrives because the way I use compressors is mostly for sustain on like a lead sound. So I will, if I have my overdrives on and I want like a solo boost for sustain or just that extra, level of gain, I'll slap on the compressor and it gives it to me.
Right. I got to move the location of my compressor because I have it after my volume pedal. And I was watching a video and someone's like, that doesn't make sense. I was like, no, it doesn't, actually.
Yeah. It's almost like a second
Let's
volume
see
pedal.
here. Quentin James says his worst nightmare is a telly straight into a twin. Yeah, Dad didn't hide. He did not hide, that's for sure. Do you have a preferred open tuning that you like?
Yes. For me, I prefer Open G or Open A, but Open, it's the same type of tuning. But Open G I like because it retains the middle three strings of the standard tuning. So I'm familiar with, the fretboard that way.
Yeah, I agree. I like it too because then, three middle strings are your regular tuning, so you know what's going on.
Yeah. If I get lost or something, I can just play
Will Varela
standard on
says
the
he
middle
uses
ones.
a compressor so he can put on pants. Terry says 45 minutes live, 63 watching, 43 thumbs ups. Awesome.
All right.
Brian Stewart says, just when I think I've got too many guitars, ... RJ solves that problem.
I got more in the other room.
And Matt Harrison, I think I don't know if I said welcome earlier. Welcome, buddy. He's asking if you're going to be touring with anyone this year.
No, if I can help it. I think my plan for this year was to not tour with anybody. I have gotten calls to do some gigs and to travel, but I've turned them down. I'm really just concentrating on the YouTube stuff, and luckily I have enough YouTube work to keep me extremely busy these days. So I don't have time to leave the comforts of my home yet.
Brian Landreth says, I have a distant cousin that is a pretty good slide player. Sonny Landreth is a bit of a slide player, that's for sure.
I've heard of him.
And Todd Flowers says he likes Open E so he can play some Dwayne Allman slide licks. Sure.
Yep. I'm a lot of players, Dwayne Allman.
Uses a lot of Open E too.
Yeah. I mean, like who else? Derek Trucks, Joey Landreth and Ariel, they use a version of Open E. Obviously, they tune down to like a low C sharp, but it's that
they're running like 18 gauge strings.
Yeah, it's huge, like baritone, basically.
Those crazy Canadians, I tell you.
It's not fair that they're in the same band.
Yeah, no kidding. I agree. And I kind of thought it was funny because, like there's a group of people over in England, Europe, like Joey and Ariel, and Josh Smith is over there a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And, and they're kind of tied in with a couple other guys. And sure enough, I'm at NAMM. I run into Ariel, and who's he hanging out with? Josh Smith, and I forget who the other two guys were. And I'm like, of course you guys are. I'm like, don't you guys like automatically see each other as transplants all the time in the UK?
I know Josh Smith is over in Europe right now. My buddy from college who used to play with, so I've known Josh since he was like 16.
Okay.
And well, we weren't good friends, but when I was in college, one of my classmates was playing drums with him.
Oh, cool.
And now he's back on the road with him this year. Like, I don't think they've seen each other probably in like 10, 15 years. So It's cool that Jeff Anthony, he's a great drummer. He's playing with Josh over in Europe right now.
See a guitar hack. He's got an early day tomorrow, and I think he gigged last night too. So I don't blame you for
good night.
An early night. Yes.
I think I had missed a comment. Someone asked if I watch Game of Thrones, and yes, I do, but I guess I'm not doing it right now, so I'll have to watch the replay of that later.
I'm recording it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll watch it tomorrow.
Exactly. Typical life of a musician, right? It's like, hey, you watching this on, Saturday night? No, I'm gigging.
Yeah.
Hey, you going to that movie premiere Friday night? No, I'm gigging. All right. And I was going to mention actually a follow-up, before Lawrence even gets back. So these Memphis pedals that I have, that's the company name, Memphis. Mm-hmm. I mentioned them since I was at NAMM. I wanted them, to get looked at by somebody. And I mentioned to Josh Scott about him because I know he's a huge pedal collector, and he freaked out. He's like, I haven't seen one of them in years. Like, So I was like,
Wow.
dude, I'll send them down to you. You know, if you want them, send me a JHS pedal for them. You know, like I'm cool with that. Move them to a good, because he'll give them a good home.
Oh yeah.
I emailed him, never heard back. So his loss, Lawrence's gain to check
Yeah.
him out. But even like I ran into Dan and Mick from that pedal show.
Mhm.
Mick had never heard of them. And then Dan is like, it rings a bell, but I can honestly say I've never seen one. He goes, I'd be curious to check those out too. And I was like, okay, I got to get these things up and running.
It's a Japanese brand?
Yeah.
Memphis. Okay.
Let's see. There's one. And the weird part is they did 7 pedals in the series, and they're all the same color. Same logo. So I'm like, that is a terrible idea. Like if your pedal board all look the same.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of actually cool. So, but does it say the pedal name somewhere on the pedal?
Underneath mini flange and distortion.
That's crazy that they're the same color.
Yep. Inputs on the end. You know, of course, no LEDs, no power ports.
Yeah.
So actually one of them got converted, but the power port doesn't seem to work on it. So
it's only all 9-volt RAN and everything.
Yeah.
Insane.
So we'll get him to Lawrence and let him check them out. And because I remember when the mini flange worked, it was really cool because it has a blend option, and you're seeing more blended options now. But I tell you, you know, like whenever you're playing in a room, there's always that, say, half a dozen fellow players that might come out to see you play. And you blend in a mini flange at just like a third the volume. So you get such a subtle warble here and there. Every time somebody come up to me after I'd finished, what was that? You were doing something. I heard it. I heard something.
Are there any flanges out now that have a blend knob?
I don't know. Personally, I think every pedal should have a blend option.
Yeah. Especially for like modulation stuff.
Yeah. Well, that and my Voodoo Lab Sparkle Drive I used to run.
I remember that pedal.
I couldn't figure it out at first because I'm like, well, one's a clean boost, and then I blended them, and the sound of a telly with essentially a tube screamer parallel with a clean sound, it was so punchy and awesome.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my Voodoo Labs Sparkle Drive broke as well.
Oh no.
Brian Landreth says the wife says you're looking good in those jeans. Well, thank you, Mrs. Landreth. Thank you, Terry. He posted links to your YouTube channel and our merch site.
Thank you, Terry.
Yes. Terry's a great guy.
I see Marsman ask the question, if you had one tone to use in the studio to just play what you want on a track, what would you use? One tone. I would say my Nags guitar, my Nags Kenai, which I love, through off the top of my head, the Mythos Herculean V2 overdrive, Lawrence Petross 74 overdrive, and then maybe some sort of reverb pedal.
Very nice. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I don't know myself. Then again, I could plug direct into my Blues Deluxe and get just enough grit out of that. You know, it depends on what you're playing, of course.
Yeah, that too. I think direct into a really nice amp would be fine with me too.
Yeah. It was weird. Like, I've been playing guitar for 30 years, and I only just started playing lead 2 years ago, I guess. 2.5 years ago. And of course, minor pentatonic. And it was to do a one lead break in whipping post that we were covering. And then I discovered the major pentatonic. And of course, you know, and that has all the cool turnaround licks for a lot of songs when you're going back to the top of a verse or what have you, or at the end of a chorus. All that swing stuff, rhythm and blues. And I realized it was all major pentatonic as well as a ton of country stuff. Other than realizing I got to do a different scale over every chord, getting my head around that, I totally embraced it. And that's what I play more for lead work, is all major pentatonic stuff. So it worked well in a band where the other guy is a typical all minor pentatonic player.
Right.
So it's like, oh, this is a straight classic rock tune. Richie, you're taking the lead. You know, it's like, oh, It's a country song. Okay, well, I'll do the lead now.
Nice.
Who were your Quentin's asking early guitar influences, and who are some of your modern day faves? Well, we
Okay.
know Chuck Berry and Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, great question, Quentin. Early guitar influences, you know, like everybody, Clapton, Hendrix, Eddie, Stevie Ray. As far as my modern day faves, oh, gosh, so many. I mean, I like Andy Timmons, um, Josh Smith, obviously. Who else is out there?
Kirk Fletcher is awesome.
Yeah, Kirk Fletcher.
And super nice, he seems. Super
Oh
nice.
yeah. Oh yeah. I sat in when I lived in LA. We had the same mutual friends, and he invited me to sit in on one of his gigs, like a trio gig, and super nice. He was playing like a Sir Telly at the time.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know if you guys have seen the video yet of Martin Miller and Josh Smith playing. It's an old Steve Lukather tune, but Martin Miller is just great. If you haven't checked out Martin Miller, just kind of a really intense jazz fusion guy, but he's super, super clean playing and really tasty.
Right.
So him with Josh Smith and the band is killer.
Nice.
Um,
Aaron says, Ben, RJ, I love you both. Time for Thrones. I'll see you both later.
all right.
Talk to you soon, Aaron. I'll likely give you a text tomorrow, buddy. Guthrie Trapp, yeah, another great player.
Guthrie Trapp is supposed to come over this week to shoot a Between Two Fenders, but I heard he's got a ear infection, so I don't know if we might have to put that off.
Fair enough. And you know what? I'm going to say, because he's new to me, Rhett Shell.
Yes. Rhett Shell is one of the tastiest guitar players.
And he's got the licks and the tone. It's funny, like if you come from a rock background, it's really hard to dial in a really good country tone, I find. At least for me. You go over the edge, you're missing frequencies. Whereas like my dad will come in here, plug right into an amp, do his settings, and it sounds so much. And I'm like, how? What did you do? And then I'll play through it, of course, and I sound like me. But,
right.
I watch a lot of the stuff he's doing there lately that he's been posting. I'm just like, man, those licks are so tasty in the tone.
Yeah.
And he's doing it all with a Helix too.
I know. I mean, I'm sure he spent a lot of time dialing in the tones in that thing.
Yeah.
But his Novo, that Sparkle one, is really, really nice.
It is. Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a nice setup there. Who he's playing with these days. So
yeah, he'll be in town this week too. So I think him and I are going to get together.
Nice. Roughly, how far is it from Atlanta to Nashville?
It's about 3.5, 4-hour drive.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not
okay.
bad.
I was thinking it was like 6 or 7 for some reason.
No, it's common for people to go between Atlanta and Nashville. Nashville doesn't have an IKEA either, so people will drive from Nashville to Atlanta to go to an IKEA to buy, their furniture stuff and drive back. And there's actually a business based in Nashville that you can order through them, and they'll go to Atlanta to pick it up, to buy it and deliver it to you.
Oh, wow.
For a fee.
Wow. Nice. See, Stevie Salas, Soda Pop says.
Yeah, someone was asking me if I like Stevie Salas. I bought his first record when I was a kid, the Color something. Steve, and I listened to that tape. It was a cassette. I listened to that till it wore out. It was a great record. Color Code. Stevie Salas Color Code.
Nice. Marsman said, what has been your favorite gigging situation, the one you enjoyed your time the most? Bet the Ricky Martin days were crazy. Well, you had a mohawk. I know that much.
I did. I had a couple hairstyles during that period. The Ricky Martin days was probably one of the funnest tours I've ever done, just because it was one of the first big tours I had ever done. So I was learning a lot about the business and how to tour. But my favorite gigging situation in the past has been probably the Stone Sour tour that I did last year, which was only really 2 weeks, but I just loved playing that music because I don't get to play that style of music ever,
Right.
even though I love listening to it. So that was
Nice.
fun, and the shows were insane.
Brian Landreth has to run. He says, love your channel, RJ.
Thank you, Brian.
Nice. And another new name is Bahistang Pupol. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Are there any bassists here? Good question.
I play bass a little.
That's the typical guitar player answer. And I was I play a little bass.
Yeah.
I don't own a bass, but I sat in as a bass player one night.
Yeah.
Literally watched the guitar player. It was a trio. Watched the guitar player's left hand all night.
Yeah. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. You get a phone call 6:30 at night. Hey man, what are you up to tonight? Oh, not much. You want to sit in with me? Doing what? Bass? Hang on. So I called up my buddy and I'm like, can I borrow your bass rig? Like what? I'm like, all of it? People saying metal. Metal.
Metal,
There you go.
yes. It's fun.
We all do soda pop. We fake it till we make it. My sister is back. I didn't know she had left. She was probably putting my niece to bed, I would imagine. Crowbar says, I just subscribed to RJ. Embarrassed to say I didn't know who he was until tonight.
Thank you, Krellbar. I appreciate the sub. I hope you enjoy my content. I'll be putting out a couple videos this week.
Oh, my sister made lemon bars. Oh, really?
Ah, those are my favorite.
Nice. Everyone's saying welcome back and shame on you, Crowbar. I think I'm trying to think. I think literally I found you came up on the YouTube homepage, and I think it was one of your tour vlogs, and I was just like, I dig this.
Thank you. I'm always amazed to see how people discover other channels. I mean, obviously I'm discovering other channels as well, so it's interesting how the YouTube algorithm works to see what they're kind of promoting on the main screen. Because a lot of times, like I'll see the main screen first, but then I'll jump automatically to my subscribe channel so I can watch their content. But now and then I'll maybe a thumbnail will pop out at me and I'll be like, oh, this looks interesting, and I'll get really into it. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the channels that I subscribe to obviously are music related, but I've been getting into like camera gear and video stuff. So I subscribe to a lot of other content creators and YouTubers.
Mm-hmm. Dale Palmer says he thinks you're one of the best guitar players on YouTube.
Well, thank you, Dale. I appreciate that. I'm still learning every day.
Todd Flowers says he found you doing demos of Eastwood guitars years ago.
Thank you, Todd. That's a long time. I appreciate the commitment.
Wow. And BC Rich, go figure with a name like that, 581. Welcome, buddy. He says, is that a blue Mockingbird NJ in the background next to the telly? My God, yes. Here, I'll grab it for you. Actually, it's not an NJ. It's even cheaper. It's a Platinum series.
I had a Platinum Warlock when I was 13.
Nice. This was my Valentine's gift to myself last year.
All right.
I as I refer to the local pawn shops as the Pound. I rescued this from the Pound, and since that time, it's now has FU tone pickups in it.
Oh wow! I didn't know they made pickups.
Yeah. Ironically enough, I had Adam, the owner of FU Tone, on the weekend he released the pickups, and he was kind enough to send me a set to check out. Like 10.5K output in the neck, 15K output in the bridge.
Nice, that's hot.
And they are made in Mexico, right alongside of the EVH Wolfgang pickups.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I love to top wrap my hardtails, the Tune-O-Matics.
Yeah, I usually do that. It kind of depends on the height of the saddle and the wrap and everything. Because I've had guitars where there wasn't enough play for me to do the wrap around, so I had to have that break.
Hey, we got Johnny Beane in the house. Johnny Beane, the other person who got infatuated with guitar based on Back to the Future.
Hey, it's a common story among, our age group, I guess.
Exactly. Exactly. Good to see you, Johnny. I'm sure he's going to be going live at some point today because he, like myself, we're doing the Veda Challenge, which is vlog every day in April.
That's hard. I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, dude, it's the 28th, and I cannot wait for May 1st.
Yeah.
Because I ran out of ideas by about the 8th day of the month because I did the challenge last August as well.
Uh-huh. Oh
So
my
it's
God.
just like 5 things you wouldn't think to take to a gig. A lot of stuff like that, or weird stories that happen on stage.
I think I would just have to live stream every day.
That's what I did more last year, was more live streams than pre-recorded stuff. Yeah, let's see. What did I miss? Todd Flower says I'm doing fine. Thank you. Ron Limber says there's a Warlock at his local pawn shop. Pre-war strumming says RJ is the reason I bought a tuxedo many years ago when he started the demos for Eastwood.
Hey, that's great. I got 2 of them right there. Those are my favorite Eastwoods.
Ah, okay. Krellbar had a guitar stolen from him back in the day. That sucks. My sister had hamburger macaroni for dinner and is now cooking the lemon squares. Nice.
That sounds like a great meal. We just had a new Chinese restaurant open up here in town. They specialize in steamed buns and dumplings and noodle soup. And I had that for dinner.
Nice. I went to the Port Bistro for lunch today, actually. I had a friend in from Vancouver that I've seen twice now in the last 20 years. He's originally from the area. And we went out for lunch today to a nice little bistro that also has live music at night. So it's nice to support a place, even if they don't have live music while I'm there. I know they have live music, so I like to support those places. Let's see, my sister, I had a question. What guitar does RJ regret giving up or losing?
I think the one guitar that I sort of regret getting rid of was there's a couple, and these are all in college. I went through a couple guitars in college. I had an Ibanez Iceman. It wasn't a Paul Stanley model, but it was a black Iceman with like a pearloid pickguard. So it was almost like a Paul Stanley style model. I had that, and it was so cool. And I got rid of it to buy a jazz guitar, which I also got rid of at a later time. But I regret getting rid of that one as well, which was it was a Gibson ES 175. It was like a 70s 175, but it had a single Charlie Christian pickup in the neck. And it was like a walnut finish.
Oh,
and
nice.
I ended up trading that in for a 335. But those 2 guitars, the Iceman and the 175, were 2 guitars that I wish I still had.
Nice. Yeah, I've always been a fan of the 175 ever since I saw Izzy Stradlin playing a black one.
Oh yeah,
with the 2 pickups, and I'm like, I need that guitar in my life.
Yeah.
So one day.
Yeah. Someone had an Iceman. Joe Hervey had an Iceman. Those are cool guitars.
BC Rich 581 likes the ES 175s. How can you not? Mickey Stuttlemeyer, I have a Mighty Mite Rocking Bird body with a busted Les Paul copy neck glued in it. I built in high school. Hey,
I've got a one of these telly. I have a telly here with a Mighty Mite neck that I bought. It's good stuff.
And Krellbar at one time had a choice between a Gibson ES120T or a 72 blonde Telly, each for $350. Gibson was a nice choice at the time, but the post CBS fenders ended up taking off. Yeah, I know. Believe me, I've got two of them.
Yeah.
Which, like anything else, it's funny. Like, I like to relate the difference of a generation. How, like someone might be like, yeah, I play a Les Paul, but they're embarrassed because it's an Epiphone and not a Gibson. Whereas my dad was embarrassed because his Telecaster was a CBS and not pre-CBS.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little different. I had a
Hey,
friend.
Petross is back.
I had a friend that had an Epiphone Les Paul Jr. that he cut the headstock to look like a Gibson
Oh
headstock.
wow. Soda Pop says, what big white body Gibson model did Izzy use? I think that was another 175, I thought. I could be wrong though.
I want to say it was thinner bodied than the 175. It could have been like a not 350.
Might have even been a guild, like a single cut guild.
Oh yeah.
Because I know he's into cool stuff like that. Hey, Lawrence Petross, we'll show him off again. These will be in the mail this week for you, buddy. There they are. Your challenge, should you accept it, is to make these usable. No pressure. Favorite or first chord you sink your fingers into like a worn pair of jeans? Good question.
Well, whenever I pick up a guitar, I'll probably go for like a G chord first just to see if everything's in tune. So G or an A chord, open.
Okay. For me, it's a C chord because it shows off the intonation quite a bit.
Yeah. I'm scared to try to play.
And if your guitar sounds good with a C chord, like acoustically, especially any acoustic guitar I ever try, if the C chord sounds great, the rest of them are going to sound awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
And Lawrence says, sweet, challenge accepted. Soda Pop says E major. BC Rich, G major. Palmed E. And for some reason, Siri just went off on my phone.
This on the web.
Weird.
That's
so
happened to me.
Apple is always listening.
Yeah. Like if you were to say, hey, Google, because I have a Google, yep, it would activate my phone.
RJ, what model of guitar do you have the most of? Strat, Tele, hollow body, semi-hollow?
I think it's a tie between Strat and Tele. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think I have 4 Teles and 4 Strats. So it's a tie.
I too have 4 Teles. Because I count my signature guitar as a Tele.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, or T-style guitar, I guess.
T-style, yeah, exactly. And some of them are loaned out to me, so they're not mine technically. Like the one I was playing in my live stream yesterday was just a demo guitar.
That thing is beautiful.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Lawrence asks, do you prefer audio taper or linear taper for your guitar volume pot?
I don't know really what that is.
Yeah, that's right. Because he actually addressed it to both of us, but I just read it off to you.
I want to say, well, I don't know.
Whatever is the most consistent for me. Like if I go from 10 to 9, I want it to be the same jump from 9 to 8.
Yeah. I guess I would have to like try both out just to feel the difference. But yeah, I would want something just like that doesn't go from like 10 to 0 in like a little turn.
Phil Mosely says, I'm yet to double up on any guitar, so it's all even on my rack. I think a Tele would be my first double. Nothing wrong with that. Guitar Collector 12 says, hey, RJ, do you have any EVH guitars?
I don't. I did own a PV Wolfgang a long time ago, which I loved the neck, but I couldn't get past the body shape. But that was really the only Eddie guitar I've owned. I've never really owned any of the newer EVH stuff.
I've never owned an EVH guitar myself. I've played a few of them now. I got a crash course in California because my buddy JJ has a couple of PV Wolfgangs, and he's got an Ernie Ball, but it's not the Ernie Ball Music Man. It came out after, but it's essentially the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I hit the EVH booth, so I had to play the Shark guitar, and quite interesting stuff. Nice stuff. I wasn't as big a fan of the Ernie Ball with the compound neck, or the weird shape. It didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And I found it was a little small. Wow, questions are flying in. Hugh Caldwell, good to see you, sir. And I believe he's like in Scotland.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think Hugh's over there. Correct me if I'm wrong, Hugh. RJ, what is the best guitar for surf music you have played?
The best guitar for surf music that I've... You know, a long time ago, I owned a Jaguar. And that was like instant surf music to me. And like an idiot, I didn't use it a lot, so I got rid of it. But I have a couple Mosrite style copies that are good. But really the Jaguar is one that stood out to me just because there was a certain pickup position that was instant surf music.
Right. For me, Stratocaster.
Yeah.
And Hugh says, yep, Glasgow, Scotland. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Right, buddy.
Good morning.
2:17 a.m.
Ooh.
And Ron Limber asks, RJ, do you own a Kramer?
I have never owned a Kramer, and I've always wanted one. That was like a guitar brand that I wanted when I was a kid. And I always played around with them in the store, but I never ended up getting one. Now they're owned. I mean, they're owned now by Gibson brand. So I went by the showroom here in Nashville, and I saw all the new Gibson stuff that they came out with, and they came out with the Swan. What was it?
Night Swan.
The Night Swan. Yeah.
Best playing Kramer they had at NAMM.
That's the Vivian Campbell one, right?
I think so.
Okay.
All I remember is the neck was much smaller than any of the other Kramers they had on display.
Okay.
Because again, when your friend is like, hey, what does your old Kramer feel like? And I just, nope, picked up the next one. I'm like, yep, here you go.
Yeah.
And Crowbar says Dick Dale uses a Strat. Enough said. Exactly. And welcome, Texas Toast Guitars. Speaking of very cool guitars, they make some great stuff out of Denver, Colorado.
Oh, nice.
And they were on here a couple weeks ago. And I will say, if you do decide to go to Sweetwater's Gear Fest, one of the big tents they do outside is a flea market. And I actually bought my Kramer during Gear Fest last year off a local Fort Wayne pawn shop that was vending there.
Oh, wow. That's great. I better bring some cash to it.
Yeah, which I thought was a really cool thing, because really Sweetwater is essentially giving away business by allowing other vendors to sell used gear. But
right.
On the other hand, I think it's really cool of them that they do add that facet to the show.
Yeah, I think it must be such a big event that they can do that, and I think people are cool with that.
It is a good size event, I will say that. Yes, I'm not going this year, but I'll probably go back next year. That's right, Jay-Steen was there. We missed seeing each other there.
This will be my first year going to Gearfest, so I'm excited.
Ron asked, Ben, describe a CBS Fender. Well, by the time CBS took over in the mid-'60s, the neck started to get thinner. And then I would say by about 68, they started to go down in quality. Not tremendously, but just not quite as select woods and stuff like that. And by the early 70s, as people will say, it was a 50-50. You're either going to get a guitar that was okay or a superb guitar. Where is Gearfest? Guitar Collector. That's in Fort Wayne, Indiana at Sweetwater. And my sister wants to go to a show. Sure. And yes, Crowbar, they switched to a 3-bolt neck plate around 72. and put in the micro tilt adjustment as well. A lot of people tell you it was earlier when they started the 3-bolt neck. This is a 71 Telly, and it has a 4-bolt.
I have a 77 Strat that has the 3-bolt neck.
Right.
And it's it's not my favorite guitar. Let's just say that.
There we go. That thing is still in the process of getting worked on and upgraded. So I designed a set of pickups the other day, and that I'm having built this week, and I should have them in a couple of weeks to install in that thing. Basically, I'm mimicking a set of 53 Telly pickups. I'm going to call them the Vintage Workhorse.
Nice.
A lot of 70s had necks not wide enough for the bridge. Yeah, the strings are fairly close to the edge.
Yeah, that's probably what's wrong with my neck.
You get used to it. I grew up, like I was playing my first chords on the 67, so I'm used to a 7.5-inch rate. Like people will say, it frets out when I bend notes. I'm like, I don't know. I learned to play on no fret height because they're essentially like fretless wonders.
Yeah.
Thank you, Terry. Yes, and anyone that's watching, if you haven't already subscribed to RJ, definitely subscribe. He is becoming a Saturday ritual. He goes live at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central for coffee time with RJ on Saturday mornings.
I hope it's not too early.
It's the only day of the week I actually set my alarm to make sure I'm awake in time. Do you own a Jackson?
I don't. I've never owned a Jackson. The only thing I have really is a Charvel Jakey Lee model.
Oh, nice.
And that's the only Jackson Charvel thing I have.
Thank you, Terry. 80 minutes, 62 watching, 52 thumbs up. Yeah, we'll go a few more minutes. We'll probably stop at the bottom of the hour. I know RJ's into these 90-minute streams, having watched one or two. Lawrence asks, RJ, 3 saddles or 6 saddles on a Telly?
I like the 3-saddle, like brass, kind of like the traditional twanginess of a brass 3-saddle Telly.
Nice. I prefer the 6 just so I can actually intonate it.
Yeah, I've never owned a 6-saddle Telly. Another one that I'm interested in is the top loading bridges for Telly.
Right.
That seems interesting.
Lawrence just asked 3 or 6 for you too. Yeah, and the nice thing is, this one, it was a 3-saddle, and the height adjustment screws were so long. I swear they stuck out further out the top than out the bottom. And this is a modern bridge, bolts directly on. Didn't have to drill or anything, because that's one thing I don't want to do with a vintage guitar is drill new holes in it.
Yeah.
But if I can bolt or solder something in, I'm doing it.
Right.
And this one, compliments of Showman Blues, has a brass nut in it too. Old school.
Cool.
Yeah, I was like, I want to put a brass nut in a Telecaster because, let's be honest, in the mid-70s in Nashville, guys were adding brass all over the place.
Yeah, I know. Someone asked me, Jay Steen, if I've ever heard of Wyandotte. Yes, I've heard of Wyandotte, Michigan. I'm trying to remember what I would do there. Apple picking. I just feel like I've been to Wyandotte for something outdoorsy.
Actually, we were talking about this yesterday on your stream, I think. Any chance of seeing Mark Agnesi on Between Two Fenders?
It depends. Because I know he's going back and forth right now between here and LA since he just got signed with Gibson. So I guess he's still in the process of being here full time, but we haven't spoken about it, but I know what I told him once he gets settled that we're going to hang out. So yeah, absolutely. I'd love to have him here. And he has his own show as well, the Mark Agnesi show, which is a great interview.
I think if you have him on, you just got to change the name to Between Two Gibsons for the one.
I know.
No. Let's see here. Lawrence asked if we've ever tried Highwood saddles. I'm not familiar with them.
Neither have I.
So we'll go with no, obviously. Soda Pop asks, why does the boss, aka Bruce Springsteen, strum so far back on the bridge? Twangier. More twang.
Yeah, I think there's also the tension aspect where like if you're gonna strum hard, you're gonna have more tension by the bridge, so it's not gonna.
Yeah, you can dig in more, and
Yeah.
plus, like certain sounds you got to do. Like a lot of bring back to Georgia Satellites. Man, they were picking right on the bridge all the time, and a lot of single string.
Oh yeah, I do that all the time. If you've ever watched my videos of me soloing, I always pick by the bridge, and that's something I learned from West Coast blues guys like Kirk Fletcher and Junior Watson.
Yep. Whereas I learned like the warm tones of a neck pickup on a telly, and you actually strum across the fretboard.
Oh yeah.
And it, like if you look at my dad's telly, actually, grab that. The wear on the fretboard, I don't know how well it will come out, but you can see where he strummed right across, right about there back.
Oh yeah.
And then clearly he was a rhythm player.
I like that real relict look though.
Yeah, no factory relic there, right? That's just years of playing in smoky bars, and you only had one guitar and one amp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's finally starting to understand why do you have 10 guitars? He's like, usually you had maybe one, maybe two, but the second one was a piece of junk. You only used in emergency.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I had only 2 guitars pretty much until my 20s. So I never had more than 2.
I think I always had a few, but a lot of it was, your $50 wall hanger that you're like, hey, I can fix it up and sell it for $60.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff. Cowboy chords wear. Exactly, Soda Pop. RJ, can you show the Noma X?
Maybe talking about the Novo?
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't have one yet.
See you, Soda Pop? Yes, not built yet. All right, A64 T-Bird. Hey, Ben, it's time. Stainless steel 6100 frets. I have them in my 76 Les Paul Custom. I'm never going back. Perfect.
Yay for stainless steel frets.
I was mentioning that on Pete Thorne's live stream. Somebody was asking, should I put stainless steel frets in my 60s telly? And my answer was yes, because yes, it will affect the value, but the value is going to be affected anyways as soon as you replace the frets, regardless. To the snobs that are, where's the case candy on the 60-year-old guitar? Those guys. And it'll be the last fret job you'll probably ever have to do on it.
Exactly.
Lawrence and Todd are talking to each other. Nice. All right. Well, I think we should probably wrap things up. Do you have anything to add, my good friend?
No, I really appreciate this. This has been a great time. I've never done a dual live stream. I hope everything came out good on your end, and I appreciate everyone for hanging out. We're all guitar players or guitar lovers, so it's always a good time to talk about gear and guitar stuff.
Exactly, and thanks to all the great people in the chat. I had a ton of great questions because, again, we could talk gear, but when you guys start giving us questions, then we know we're talking about stuff that they want to hear about too.
Yeah, exactly.
It was awesome. So yeah, if you just want to hold the line, I will wrap things up. Thank you, Lawrence. He says, thanks for the great show. Thank you, everybody that tuned in. If you're new, please subscribe, ring that bell. Of course, leave a thumbs up. There's a link to RJ's channel down below in the description, as well as Terry's been posting it in the chat as well. I've seen a few messages of people saying that they've already subscribed to RJ, which is awesome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And as I always say, folks, hold those doors open. Let that guy in ahead of you in traffic. Do good things, and good things will happen to you because karma is real. I'm living the dream. RJ's clearly living the dream. I hope you're living the dream. And until another video tomorrow, we'll see you then, folks. Oh, yeah, and tomorrow night, Canucks with Guitars. Duh, my main show. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., 7 Central, 5 Pacific, 3 p.m. in Hawaii, 1 a.m. in the UK, 2 a.m. in Germany. There we go. I think I covered a bunch of time zones there.
Oh, you're good.
All right, folks. Have a great night. Cheers. Rock on.